What up, Chase?
How's it going?
Good to hear from you. How about you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks so much for having me on.
Definitely. It feels like it was just yesterday, almost. Kind of.
Yeah, really close.
I
really
know.
Close.
It's like our bi-monthly check-in. It's not too bad.
There we go. I like that. I like that.
So, last time we talked, the album was still under wraps. Kind of. Well, and then now Lost Ones is finally about to be out there in the world on Friday. I can't even imagine what's going through your head this week.
Man, it is a whirlwind of thoughts. I got to tell you, I think May of next year is my 10-year mark in Nashville. So it's kind of a full circle moment for, like say it's a 10-year town, and I'm just now releasing my debut album. It feels pretty crazy. I'm excited. I hope that it helps somebody. And, I cannot wait for Friday.
We talked a little bit about it back in July, but a lot of it was, like I said, under wraps. So now we can kind of get more into depth. But I do know it's such a personal record, and every song was co-written by you, and the title track, Lost Ones, definitely like the emotional centerpiece of the whole thing. So why did you decide this was the right time to tell your full story in an album form?
That's a great question. I think it was just it was a mixture of things, but I think it's just what I've always wanted to do as an artist, and I had never had the opportunity to create an album before. This was that chance, and this is my introduction, in album form. It's kind of like writing the first chapter of my book, and it's like, hey, this is who I am, this is where I came from, this is my story, and what happened to me, and now what I'm doing about it.
And obviously Lost Ones, we talked a lot about that back a few months ago, but I cannot wait to hear the just how it sounds with everything else on the record. Did it shape the direction of a lot of the rest of the album, that one song?
Yeah, it's so all the songs I think are very cohesive, and I'm super proud of that. I think something that I love about records is that they have like a something that makes them unique. Like when the album comes on, that this particular artist, they have a sound, and we spent a long time chasing that down. That being said, there's a spectrum of story songs, traditional country music songs that are more rock and roll, and but I think at the end of the day, they're all me, and it all sounds like Chase McDaniel, and I'm really proud of that.
So you kind of touched on it, but how do all of those songs fit together in like the bigger story arc of the record?
I think that they're all leading to a similar theme. They're all touching on mental health, grief, drug addictions, things like that, and I think Lost Ones it's the glue of the record because, I think a lot of us who have been through things like that in our lives, we have felt isolated, alone, and then we have to kind of build our own homes. We have to build our own communities. And so I think Lost Ones is now it's the name of my fan club as well, but it kind of just serves as a lighthouse for those people who need a place to call home.
And you've released parts of the album over the past year. Obviously, Burn Down Heaven is one of those ones that's already out there in the world. Which one was like the hardest for you to write? Was it Lost Ones or?
That's a great question. I think probably there's a song about my grandparents who raised me, my mama and papa. It's called What I Didn't Have. And it was the very last song that I wrote for the album. It was an 11th hour song choice. And, I went home and I played that for my mama and papa who raised me. And it was just a really healing moment for our family. And I thought, I have to have this on the album because, my grandparents are 83 years old and I didn't want to have them to wait around for album 2. So, I think that one was the hardest one to write, but also the most powerful.
That's beautiful. I mean, so like I said, there's a lot of songs out, but on the flip side, is there one track that you're most excited for fans to finally hear?
I'm so excited for them to hear Die Trying. It was the very first song that we wrote on the album, and I've been dying to get it out ever since we wrote it. We wrote it back in 2023, and so and we released several others, that we wrote after that before it. So it was kind of the centerpiece of the project in terms of where we were going in the direction sound-wise, and I can't wait for them to hear that song.
You've balanced a lot of heavy subject matter with some gritty and like rocking country sound. Was that intentional to make people feel uplifted even in like darker moments?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think something that I love about country music, country radio is that, you can roll your windows down and listen to it. And, I'm a guy who I get in my car and I take long drives, and that's kind of how I deal with the world. And so I think what I was missing from the country music that I love was lyrics that related to my story, and so I wanted to make music that you still roll the windows down to, but if you listen to the lyrics, it's going to tell a deeper part of the story.
I cannot wait for Friday. It's going to be great, and I mean, it's probably the biggest thing of the year so far for you, but the year is starting to wind down. If you could sum it up without having this big thing happening on Friday yet, what would that be in one word?
Man, busy, and I love it. It's great.
Absolutely. I mean, when we saw you back up here in July, I think you were in the middle of like not being home for, I don't even know how many days, what you said. But
it was a long time, but I know that I'm A-list on all the airlines, and that's all that matters. That's great.
Well, looking into 2026, what's something you already have on the books that you're fired up about, whether it's, touring or personal life?
Man, I'm so excited. Well, we're going to do a few dates out with Alexandra Kay this fall, in October and a little bit in November. And then I've got a show coming up with Mr. Jason Aldean. I've got some other shows coming up. I got a show coming up with Tim McGraw. So, I mean, there's some really cool stuff happening that I can't wait for. I'm just excited to get back out on the road and meet fans. My favorite part of performing is actually after the show when I get to say hey to everybody. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait to get to do that soon again.
You were taking pictures with our audience for like 45 minutes, and I know how much that meant to them. So I wanted to say thank you on behalf of them. When fans walk away from Lost Ones, what's one thing that you hope they can carry with them?
I hope they carry a sense of community, a sense of peace, and a sense that, like, hey, if you're having a hard moment, you can go back to this anytime that you need it. I hope it feels like home.
For anyone who hasn't pre-saved or pre-added it yet, I mean, we heard a lot of the songs acoustically a few months ago, but why should Lost Ones be the album they don't miss on Friday?
Man, if you want to just roll your windows down and scream out some feelings that you need and just drive, the speed limit, of course, but you're probably going to be riding it pretty good, and let it out. I think this is the album for you. Lost Ones, you can find it anywhere on Friday, and I'm ChaseMcDanielmusic.com or anywhere else.
Well, I'm super excited. I'm so stoked for you, and I can't even imagine what you're feeling. Just take it all in. Don't ever forget it, and I really appreciate you taking the time, Chase.
Thanks so much for having me. I had such a good time performing up there, man. Thanks so much for talking to me. The interview was amazing. Thank y'all so much again for having me. I love the fans, love the people up there, and thanks for playing Burn Down Heaven, y'all.
Thank you, Chase. All right, have a good one.
You too. Take care.